Hello and welcome back to Spin Your Jaw. Now what a great way to finish the week, boxing on a Sunday. Well, unless you're a Man United or a Liverpool fan.
They were absolutely pathetic. Their body language was terrible. It was spiritless and spineless.
The night started off with Linus Udofia versus John Harding Jr. And this fight is Udofia's first defence of the English middleweight title. Now before I get into this fight, if you want to know a little bit more about who Udofia is, watch his post-fight interview after he won the middleweight title for the first time. He's a fighter through and through, he's so humble and he's got such a big future ahead of him. John Harding Jr. is also a fighter with an incredible story and how boxing has changed and shaped his life. Another great fighter coming from Dillian Whyte's camp. These two fighters gave us 9 rounds of maximum violence.
Two warriors, two guys that are scared to fight no one, so it's going to be good.
It was a really, really good punch-up. Harding starts off by giving us some nice clean jabs, and Udofia is establishing his range and taking a little bit longer to settle in. However, when he does, he really starts connecting his jabs. Second round, Udofia has moved tighter into Harding Jr., where he's able to demonstrate an influx of jabs, right hands, and a couple of really nice body shots. Udofia's boxing really well in this round. He's doubling up on the jab, and he seems to be dominating the round in both power and pressure. Harding Jr. has got some power behind him, and I would really have liked to have seen him be a little bit busier in those early rounds, because when he gives it, he can really do some damage. Udofia is still controlling the pace of the fight. He's going for the double shots at the head and body, and if Harding Jr. wasn't such a good defensive fighter, it could have ended a lot sooner than it did. But saying this, Harding Jr.'s corner have been telling him, you know, be patient, and I think they started saying that in the first or second round, and this might have been the moment he was waiting for.
Comes back with a right hand as well, tries to work the body as well. Oh, good uppercut from Harding Jr. And Udofia in a bit of trouble here.
There go.
He's really picking his moments to unload and go heavy on Udofia. By the end of the 5th round, it's really heating up between the pair, and I mean, how many of these looks did we get? Let's count.
Another good round. Knockouts on the Harding slate, but he's comes Harding, heads bumping together. It really is, he bites on that gum shield, not the smile.
Breathing heavy, mouth open.
Good right hand on the back.
Higher tempo, busier of the two.
7th round, Udofia is straight on Harding again. He's really working his uppercuts and body shots at a close distance. Harding Jr. is he's just like a wall, isn't he? Like, the hits he's taking, they don't seem to faze him. He's not really being hurt yet, and he's able to keep up his own pace and come back with explosive outbursts of combinations. I'd say Udofia was the busier out of the two fighters. He's busy with the jab and the body shots, and he's maintained a constant pressure on Harding Jr. throughout all 9 rounds. 9th round, the two were going toe-to-toe before Udofia caught Harding with a short right hand which takes him down to the canvas. He was up for 8, but he did look a little bit dazed, which I'm assuming is why the ref called it. Would this have been inevitable? I'm not sure. I'd be interested to see the judges' scorecards for this fight. Udofia takes his undefeated record up to 16 wins and still the English middleweight champion. Now let's talk about the savage Alan Babic versus Niall Kennedy. Now, Niall Kennedy is 4-time Irish champion and he has an established boxing career. He was never going to be an easy opponent, and he has been the only professional opponent of Babic to take him into the 3rd round. A fiery start for both fighters. Coming forward, Babic instantly delivering a combination of hooks, head and body shots. You can hear it in his movements just how powerful Babic is. Kennedy is using his defences well. Babic is hitting quite a bit of glove. He's got a stiff, sharp jab and he's moving well. He's a solid fighter and he doesn't seem to mind Babic's constant attacks. I think Babic is a really entertaining fighter. Whether you like his style or not, he is a powerhouse and he's a current problem for all of his opponents at the moment. Kennedy was really standing up to Babic and he was holding his ground until a left hook came at close range. Kennedy had a slight delayed reaction, but he got straight back up and laid into Babic with a strong left-right. Start of the 3rd round, Kennedy has backed himself into the corner and he's taken a heavy 1-2 finished off with the body. Again, he was up on his feet pretty quickly, within about 6 seconds. Babic has then backed him up onto the ropes and delivered a combination of brutal hits before the ref called it off. A disappointing finish for Kennedy. I thought he was the best professional that Babic has faced yet. He was determined, he didn't give up, and I really, really like that about him. They both seemed like they had a lot of respect for each other after, and I just love it when they have a little cuddle after they've done hitting the shit out of each other. I'm really interested to see who they'll match Babic up with next. The next fight of the night I want to talk about is Chantel Cameron versus Adriana Araujo for the super lightweight championship of the world. That just sounds so good when you say it, doesn't it? Like, of the world! I've spoken about Chantel Cameron before on my videos. I think she's a fantastic fighter. She's up there in my opinion with the likes of Savannah Marshall. Araujo is a two-time Olympian undefeated champion. However, she came in too heavy for this fight, so even if she had won, she wouldn't have won the belt, which is strange to me, but maybe she doesn't care about the belts and she just wanted to fight. Cameron has started with some good, quick, solid movements and so much confidence. She isn't fazed by Araujo's 300 fight experience. She's fighting for that belt. She's got a lovely straight jab technique and she's really, really clean whilst establishing her range. Araujo has left herself open to big combinations from Cameron while she was trying to adjust her straps, which was very interesting to listen to Adam Smith and Matthew Macklin talk about that. However, she kept it moving, she kept dodging, and she hit back at Cameron with a left hook. Cameron is really putting in some good work. Whenever Araujo hits her with a right, she leaves herself open and Cameron blasts her with 2 shots before she's even laid the gloves on. Like, Cameron is just so quick. And she's such a powerhouse when it comes to her shots and movements. She delivers every single time. She's sharp, she's fast, and she's tactical. She's landed so many heavy right hands and I just really like her. I expected a little bit more from Araujo. To me, it looked like Cameron was doing most of the work. She was landing more hits and she was being the aggressor out of the pair. 10th round, Araujo is really planting her feet and she's looking for the finish that she needed to get the win. Cameron has really shown the type of quality fighter that she is, and she's really done herself proud. She dominated the whole entire fight from start to finish, and it was a gritty 10 rounds with all of the judges scoring a unanimous 100 to 90. And the new WBC super lightweight champion of the world, Chantel Cameron. And the main event, the one we've all been waiting for, Joshua Buatsi versus Marco Calic. This fight had me gripped from start to finish. I must have watched it 5 or 6 times now. This is Buatsi's first fight since his victory over Ryan Ford on the 31st of August 2019, which seems forever ago. It's been over 400 days since that fight, but I guess all boxers kind of going through the same ring rust at the moment and they've not really been able to fight or train properly since March. First round, neither fighter really came in all guns blazing. They were working each other out and finding their reach. Buatsi came out sharp and neat in everything he did, from his footwork, his shots, everything he delivered was so powerful. Calic is known for being a difficult fighter. He's able to switch up his style on his opponent, and this makes him a hard fighter to catch. He's landing a few shots to the head and body. However, this first round has been a little bit slow to start, with Buatsi dominating slightly more of the round. Second round, Calic is using his right hand well. He's landing solid punches and he's coming forward into Buatsi, and he looks more comfortable in taking control in this round. Buatsi continues with a sharp, stiff jabs. All of his shots sound like they hurt, but Calic is really working on his counters. Buatsi is working his double jab and Calic is just going straight for him every single time. The fight definitely picked up in the second round. Start of the third round, Calic landed a heavy right hand, but nothing seems to deter Buatsi. He comes back stronger, he keeps the pressure on and he works his opponents. Buatsi catches Calic with a left hand, making him drop for a second, but with no standing count from the ref. Calic is really turning the pressure on Buatsi now. His eyes are cut and it's really bothering him. You can see him try and protect it and try and cover it from any further damage, but it's pretty swollen up already. But Calic is really using this to his advantage and he's working on the body and that damaged left eye. I did think in this moment this could have been the start of the end. Calic working Buatsi down, he's injured. He could have taken the win in this moment. Buatsi has really held his own. He's worked at his quick pace, he's listened to his corner, and he's a really technical and powerful fighter. He throws a powerful right hand off the back of a left uppercut. He really does some damage and his performance is just outstanding. 7th round, I did get a little bit worried for the ref. Take a look at this. Calic looked over at his corner, stood up for his count, but it was finished, wasn't it? You could see it in his eyes. Buatsi knew the end was near and gave us this spectacular finish. Just look at the power, the speed. Calic just looks like he's in danger. It then became one-sided and there wasn't really anything Calic could have done in that moment. He glanced over at his corner, who was holding up the towel, which I'm so thankful for, because any further damage that could have been done would have been catastrophic. And still, Joshua Buatsi is the undefeated WBA International Light Heavyweight Champion. A brilliant fight and such a great way to end the card. And that's it for this week. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next fight card.